Hey and welcome. This is Calvenn Starre, and you're joining me for Advancement in Leadership. And it's a webinar series training on the book The Disciplined Leader by John Manning. And it's 52 concise, powerful lessons about leadership. And I discovered John many years ago when I took his MAP course for executive management. And it's one of those most profound moments where you start to look at yourself and you realize the challenges you have. And this week is really fitting because it's all about success. And so instead of always looking at those challenges at times, you have to also look at your successes and see what you do well. And so welcome to the webinar. This is a great week to join us. We're on week 42, which is Learn from Your Success. And the way that we get started in this every single week is we go through a little process called integration, where you're going to take the information that we've learned over the last 3 weeks and we're going to integrate it by recalling it and just kind of giving a different version. But what that does is it helps integrate the information into your brain. That's how we learn. We learn through repetition and repeating things and doing things over and over and over again until they become integrated into your mind, into the way that you behave. So that's what we do here. So let's go through it and let's get back into the integration process, and let's go to chapter 39, which is develop a what's the goal culture. And it's a really powerful way of being with people, which is, hey, what's the goal here? What's the goal in our conversation? What's the goal in our meeting? What's the goal in what we're doing today? And it will sometimes make people uncomfortable because most people are not used to putting focus on what they actually want. And if you want change, if you want to increase your joy, your happiness, your success in life, you need to find out and focus on what's the goal. What do you truly want to achieve? What do you want to be in process with to make things happen? So the best thing to do is when you're getting people started out in network marketing, because this is what this is about, leadership and network marketing. If you start to develop that goal the moment that they step in front of you and they start to know who you are, it will just be an assumption that they have that that's what they need to focus on, which is what's the goal? Like, what's the goal when you're going to make this three-way call? What's the goal when you're going to talk to this person about the product? What's the goal when you're going to follow up with them? And that's the mindset that you need to create for people so that they can start to shift their focus on what it is that they truly want. You know, when people say to me, oh, I just want to make more money. Well, if you make $1 more than you did last year, you've made more money. So, you know, what's the real goal? What's the specific goal? And we've learned from so many great masters like Jim Rohn and Tony Robbins and T. Harv Eker and Wayne Dyer. Getting specific in what you're looking for is a great way to call out that information and bring it present to you so that you can end up manifesting or creating it. So create that culture within your organization and you'll start to see the great results that happen. So that was chapter 39. And then chapter 40 was stay the course. And for me, this is always true in network marketing and in a lot of different things in life, is that we get that wandering eye syndrome, the rubbernecking on the highway, the new fishing lure that comes out and is shiny and bright and amazing and it's going to solve all the world's problems, or the network marketing companies that say, do nothing and get rich, and it's one of those things where, of course they're going to attract those people that are looking for the easy way. And I did it, I've done it before. And what you learn is that there's always going to be something bigger and better and brighter and newer. But what you have to do in your life is you have to stay the course. You have to stay present and aware of what it is that you want, and realizing that if you keep starting over and over and over and over and over, you're never really going to achieve much other than being really great at starting over, right? So, you've got to stay that course and stay focused. And when change happens, you have to find a way to get behind that change and make it work. Like if your company decides to change leadership roles or change compensation plans or change policies, you've got to find a way to really get behind it, or you can't. You're not going to be able to achieve the success that you want because you're not going to be able to stay the course. And so it is a game a little bit, that you have to go through at times, because sometimes when you're not in control, people could throw you a curveball and you have to just figure out, okay, what am I doing here? What am I staying true to? And for a lot of leaders, it's staying true to themselves and who they are and what they represent in their lives. And that's powerful. That will attract your success no matter what you decide to do. Okay, so staying the course, true to yourself, but teaching other people, listen, stay the course in this. Give it a year, give it 6 months, give it something, but give it that time, and also give it the commitment, the making that decision to be a part of something and do something every single day for it. Don't stick with something for 6 months and not do anything and then call it a failure. Do something for 6 months and change the way that you live your life and create that success through it, okay? And then see what it does. So that's chapter 40, stay the course. And then last week was lead from the front. And this is a powerful thing as well, because so many leaders get to that point where they feel like they're not leading anymore, or they choose not to lead anymore, and they start to manage. And if you're going to achieve the results that you want to achieve, you've got to do it from the front lines. You've got to be in it. There was an expression that I've been saying for years, I don't know where I got it from, but as the leader goes, so does the rest of the group. And so if you're not doing what you need to do in order to be a leader, in order to create success, the rest of your organization is not going to do it either. They're going to do what you do. And if they see you, relaxing all the time and sitting at the pool and really just doing nothing, those are great pictures on Facebook, but truly, what are you really doing with your time? Are you being distracted the whole time because of, the people there or the kids there or that there? No, people need to understand that, that's the fruits of what your success is, but you got there because you were in the front lines. You were in that place of going, you know what? I need to create success for myself, and I need to put that, I need to get into it. And so you were in it. You were clocking in and out every day at your home because you knew that's what it took to build your business. So really showing people that you do lead and that you are involved in the business just like you're asking them to be. That makes it easier for people to follow you when you're actually doing what you're telling people to do. The worst people are the people that say, oh, do what I tell you to do, don't do what I do, right? Because that's a cop-out, that's crap. And so if you truly want to show your organization what it means to lead, then lead from the front. That's chapter 41. Now, let's get into this chapter, chapter 42, learn from success. Albert Einstein said it, education is what remains after one has forgotten what one has learned in school. And I've shared this with a lot of leaders because I think the most difficult process for us to do to work with other people is to have them unlearn what they've learned in school. Have them unlearn what they need to do to create success, because we're taught to live in a system when we go to school and college and all this stuff and get behind in credit card debt and school debt and all this stuff. So we're taught to live in a system. And in order to create success as an entrepreneur and be a person who is somebody that's thinking differently and doing things differently and starting their own business, you've got to get out of the system. You've got to forget what you learned at school and really go, okay, what do I really need to do here? Because in school you're taught this, that here's what you do. I'm going to tell you what to do. I'm going to tell you how to do it. I'm going to show you how to do it, and then I'm going to make you do it. And an entrepreneur is totally different because you have to be willing and able to do it yourself. You don't have anybody that's going to be there teaching you and showing you and pushing you to do it. You have to do it because you can always go hide at home and say, oh yeah, I'm working, but not really work. And so we have to unlearn all of these things that we were taught in school. And I love that quote because of that right there. And then Pelé, or as we say in Texas, Peel. Success is no accident. It is hard work, perseverance, learning, studying, sacrifice, and most of all, love of what you are learning to do. Love of what you are doing or learning to do. And that's the people who become masters at their craft, is people who love what they are doing. I love what I do. I love sharing and imparting knowledge that has worked for me or hasn't worked for me, and being able to give that lesson to somebody else and for myself to help somebody else in their process or their journey. That's a beautiful thing. And so because I know that success is no accident, and I remember reading Napoleon Hill's Laws of Success, the two huge chapter volumes. It was success leaves clues, and the challenge for most people in network marketing is that they have been, other people want to say, oh, that's true, but I'm going to show you how to do it a lot quicker. And Ultimately, yeah, there are times where you can hit it big quickly and be lucky, but ultimately for everybody else, and that's the dream, is that it's going to take time. It's going to take that learning, that studying, that sacrifice, and you really truly do have to love what you do in order for it to be shown and be a part of what your success is. So that's the couple of quotes for this week, and then let's get into the chapter. This says, you must learn from your mistakes because the road to success will have many. We all know it. If you're successful, you know how many times you have heard no, that's stupid, it's a pyramid scheme. There's, you know that there are so many challenges to the road to success. And if you're successful, you understand this. If you're not successful, chances are you're probably pretty afraid to make mistakes. And that's going to be a challenge. Just going to tell you. You must also be willing to learn what went right, if not more so than the mistakes, and do more of whatever that right thing is. So this is a great thing for me because I realized this too when I was reading the chapter. It should be what you lead with in your meetings and whatnot when you're talking about people. Talk about the successes and talk about what is working right. I know a lot of network marketing leaders that do that with their leaders. They say, hey, what's working for you? And that's just a positive reinforcement for what's working, and it's a great way to help other people hear that, hey, this works for this person, but it may not be working for that person, and that you're going to have challenges and you're going to have failures, and it doesn't matter. You've just got to keep doing what's working for you. So when most people are asked about failures, they have everything to say about why it was a failure. Like they have a reason, they have the details, the timelines, the people involved, the struggles, the this, that. However, and this was fascinating because when I read this, I went, oh my gosh, it's true. When it was a success, they struggle with their reason why, right? They don't really understand why they became successful. Sometimes they go, hard work, luck, whatever, but they don't truly get why it worked. So this was a great epiphany for me, where it was like, oh my gosh, you really do have to study your successes because it will help you recreate those successes. But success is not an accident. It is about cause and effect. And so that was the point of the stories, is that it's not an accident. So when you have success and you don't understand why, it's not because it was an accident. It's about cause and effect. It's about something specific that you did and how you were and where you were in alignment with and what actions you took that created that success. And it may not be in that moment. It could have been a week before or a year before or whatever it was. Something happened, and it's something that you did and that you can repeat. Okay? Luck, you can't always repeat, but you can repeat success. Then within every accomplishment, there's a wealth of information to gather and apply. So what he's saying in the book is that when you have a success, really write it down. And I was watching something recently, I don't remember what it was, or maybe it was a book that I was reading. I think it was a book by James Altucher, where he was saying that, he has this friend who's a poker player, and he makes a ton of money playing poker because he studies every single hand and he writes down how he wins or loses. Because he wants to know, he wants to understand, he understands you have to study the good and the bad. And so what John's saying here is that within every accomplishment, there's a wealth of information to gather and apply. Just because something went really well doesn't mean that you should just dismiss it and continue forward. If you want to recreate that success, then focus on it, understand it, and really study it on why it works so well. Maybe that will help you uncover something that will be even more profound for you to even make you better and create more and more success. Instead of avoiding mistakes, ask your team to focus on replicating success. And this is going to be an interesting thing for a lot of people, because you need to teach people to encourage mistakes, okay? But then focus on replicating the success. And so, because most people, they grow up and they're afraid to make mistakes. They're afraid to speak up. They're afraid to take action. They're afraid to ask that girl out because they're afraid that they're going to say no. And they avoid everything and they become avoiders, right? But if we shifted that focus onto saying, okay, let's go out and find what works, well, that implies that things aren't going to work. But you don't have to worry about that because you don't care about that, right? You're focused and worried about replicating the success. You're looking for something that's working. And it's something that I do with our kids, is the whole CPR. the constant positive reinforcement. The reason that so many kids are out of control these days is because they get their attention when they're out of control, when they're being whiny and negative. And, they don't get enough attention being positive, so they go, well, I want attention, and so I'm going to be negative, right? And that's the same thing that they grow up into. And so you have to shift that focus for them and ask your team to focus on replicating success. Let's see what works. Let's find out what works. Hey, you know what? Let's do a team training. Okay, I want each one of you to pair up with somebody, and I want you to go out and find 3 things that work, right? 3 things that work. Well, what are they going to do? They're going to go out and try stuff that's going to fail, but they're going to be unattached to it because they're going to be focused on looking for what's working. And that's what you need to shift people's attention to. This means that you take inventory when you do something right and you celebrate your success. And that's what will happen. So you send everybody out to do their thing, and then they all come back and they give you their findings. And you celebrate what works for them. Oh my, that's great. I can't believe you guys actually came up with that idea. And you make it this positive thing. And all you're doing is you're taking the attention and focus off the negativity of failing, and you're focusing it on the success and making things exciting again. To go out and try something new. That's what we need to do. Here are 3 ways that John talks about learning from success. Okay, here's 3 ways that you can do it. Number 1, embrace a positive outlook. That's one of the things I've been blessed with. I don't think I was born with it, because I remember being a very depressed teenager and very, shy and withdrawn and all these things. So I think it was something that happened, and I shifted and I started saying, you know what, I'm going to start finding the good in everything. And so you have to embrace that positive outlook, and it will drive some people nuts, and you'll just know that those are the people that have a negative outlook, right? So small successes count towards something. You can win big with small successes. These successes create self-confidence, which will share behaviors and actions for the better. Positive attracts more positive. And so that's what you have to do. So when somebody comes to you and complains about something, ask them, well, what was good about it? What could be good about it, right? And that's the thing I loved about Tony and what he did. When somebody would say something, I don't know what was good about it. Well, what if you did? And then they go, well, if I did know what was good about it, I would do this, and they would start to express all the good. And that's the whole NLP and languaging thing, where you can get people to do things by just imagining it that it's true, right? So what would be good if you could think of something? And it's like, oh, well, okay, well, I could make this up and this up, and it truly is what is good about it, right? So create that positive outlook in your team and start to build up on those small successes. Not everybody is going to go to the top rank within a year or within a month or within 3 months or 6 months or whatever. So really celebrate those small successes towards that higher rank, okay? Number 2, analyze success. Have fun with it. And this gave me chills, because the same quote by Pelé that I had used in the beginning of this was also used in this book, and I had not read it yet, right? So success happens for good reasons. And when you start to explore the who, what, where, when, and why of an achievement, you will see that it is possible to repeat it. So if you've ever had success in your life before, it is definitely possible to repeat it. And here's a fascinating concept, because this happened to me, and this is probably why I get so excited about it. When I was younger, right, I was partnered up with somebody, and I believed that they were the reason for the success, right? And I, had the best success in my life that I'd never had before. And then I realized, I don't know when it was, that I realized, you know what, I was a part of that success, and I can recreate it. And I had to let go of some old things and some old beliefs, but I ended up creating it again, and I realized, you know what, it was me. And so that means that I'm safe and secure in who I am and what I'm about, because I know that I can go out and create my success wherever I go. And that allowed me to be able to impart that wisdom with other people, to let people know, hey, you know what? Your success is yours. Nobody can take that from you. And so you will have what you have, and you can recreate it no matter who you are, where you are, what you are. You've got the ability to be able to recreate your success. And if you analyze it, which is what I love about this book, if you analyze it, then you can actually enhance it and create more of it, because that's the thing that causes people to get better. Why do you think that phones, like the iPhones, get better and better and better? Because they analyze their success. They look at what is really great and really amazing for people, and they enhance it, and they look for ways to get it better. They don't look at all the failures and go, ah, shit, we've got this stupid antenna problem, so let's really focus on that. And they get things better. They analyze it and they go, okay, this didn't work as well. What did work? Where else could we put it? And they shift that focus to a more positive way. And then boom, I'll give you the example. I think this is what happened with Samsung. I'm not exactly sure. That one that got banned from the airports and the planes. It was because they rushed their success. They were focused on the failures of what was going on with somebody else. I don't know which other technology company. I think it was with Apple. And they decided to rush something and not do the best that they could do. And it ended up completely destroying that market for them because all of their phones got banned. And so, don't take shortcuts. Don't always focus on the negative and what's not working. Focus on what works and do that and stay true to it. And that goes back to stay to the course. Okay. Then number 3, pay more attention to what works. Most people are their own worst critic. So it will take effort to shift to do a more positive focus on yourself. So, realize that whenever you look at yourself in the mirror, you're the one who sees the critical parts. Most people just see you for you, and that's who you are. And I do this all the time. But, so you've got to realize that you've got to shift that to a more positive focus. Find one thing that you can look at in the mirror and be excited about. Maybe you have one tooth that looks fantastic, right? But find something that you can be more positive about yourself and help yourself to shift that. Because, even doing these webinars and putting my little picture down there, I struggled with it because I was like, I don't know, what if I look funny in a pose, or if when I make a face or an expression when I'm talking, it's like, but you know what, that's what I do. That's what everybody does. And it's getting out of that. And so you realize too, through this, pay attention to what works, is that dwelling on mistakes does no one any good. If you dwell on the past or you dwell on the mistakes of your past, you will never create the success you're looking for, because you've got to make those mistakes. You have to do the things that you've done and do the wrong things at times in order to know what to do right. Right? Right. Now, let's take action now. Number 1, understand your culture around victories and create a process to recognize and celebrate wins. Become that person that people are excited to share their wins with, because you're going to celebrate with them. Not talking about go out and getting hammered, right? I'm talking about celebrating people by recognizing them, acknowledging them, patting them on the back, telling them that they did a great job. And when people come to you, also create that process to say, okay, great, that didn't work for you, but what did work for you? Well, nothing. Well, what could have worked for you? Then shift it to that. If nothing did work, then what could have worked? What could you have tried? And create that culture in your organization to create more positivity. Number 2, develop a lessons learned process where you evaluate outcomes from the major initiatives and capture the lessons learned and memorialize them. Okay? So take these outcomes from major initiatives, like major things that you do or work on, your trainings, and capture them and really help understand that, create that process for people to know that some things will work and some things will not. And then these things really, really work. And the reason they really, really work is because the masses can do them and the masses can duplicate that. And so you've got to develop that. You've got to engage people with that idea of those lessons learned. Okay, so really focus on that and develop those for your team. Number 3, understand your own biases and style around celebrating victories, and then take corrective action if necessary. Like I said, become the leader who people love to celebrate their successes with. And so if you have a way that you just kind of go, well, yeah, of course you got successful, you did the work, right? That's probably not the best way to do it. That's the best style. It's about celebrating, because I recognize this with my kids and my son especially, because there are times where I just look at him and I'm going, well, yeah, of course, but he doesn't have the wisdom and experience that I do. And so he's telling me out of this like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. And the times that I've been conscious of this and recognize it, and I totally like get involved with him and start going, yeah, that's so cool. He like totally turns it up a notch because he really gets it that it's cool. And so do that with the people that you're working with as well. You don't have to be zealous, right? You don't have to be like, oh my God, this is amazing, right? But you can be very like, hey, that's great. And so, what did you learn? What did you learn from this? What didn't work for you? What did work for you? And really help them through that process to create what they want to create. So it's a lot of information, and it's really there for you for the taking of saying, you know what works, what resonates with me, and what can I do today. So let's pay it forward. I'm on this kick about gratitude and being grateful. So let's pay it forward by leaving a comment below on what you are the most grateful for in your life and what you learned from this webinar. Thank you. I'm grateful for your leadership. Showing up is the first step. Have a great one.